Hello, good afternoon. I am Sheila Maria. I am a psychic medium for Starseeds, and it is really wonderful to be with you. And this evening's topic is called, she says, forgetting psychic predictions you don't want and what to do about them. So I've had this happen many times when I've gone and had a card reading, or I've had a session with someone and they've predicted something I really didn't want, down to a very well-known medium who will remain nameless, who predicted mine and my daughter's death. So we all know that nothing, thankfully, is set in stone, and we know that there is always infinite potential. But let's say that you've been given a prediction and it scares you, or it worries you, or the reason that you went to that psychic or that reader was because you wanted to know how to create something better. So the first thing we're going to say is make sure that you look at the energy of the person who is reading you. If you're working with somebody that, regardless of what they charge, whose vibration is very different to yours, we're not saying that they're higher or lower, or they're lower than you, or they're higher, you're higher than them, because that doesn't qualify. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to be able to really trust anything good they say, and you will feel quite nervous about anything bad that they say. And you know, sometimes we want predictions, sometimes we're scared and we want reassurance, and somebody giving you that reassurance is why you booked the reading in the first place. But a lot of the people that do predictions may be a different style of psychic than you actually need. So, for example, this isn't so much to do with whether they use tarot or whether they use, you know, another method. It's really to do with if they have a very, very earthly energy, or if they have more of a multi-dimensional energy. You know, I'm somebody that if I have a reading with somebody that's very, very earthly, we are not going to connect that well, because, you know, clearly I'm a bit of a freak. But the other thing is, and my son's just bringing our coffee in, my coffee in. The other thing is to remember is that what's important to you may not be important to them. And what they think is a good prediction for you might be a really limiting prediction from your point of view. Yeah. So choosing the right reader just by looking at their photograph and without judgment, tuning into the energy. Do they feel like it's somebody you'd have a coffee with, or would you run a mile in the opposite direction? Okay. The other thing we're going to say is that psychics that predict something that you don't want to know, maybe just reading a timeline that never happens, but it might be active in your energy now. So if you're very scared, or you're very stressed, or you're dealing with a lot of unknown factors and you're very anxious about that, for certain types of reader, inevitably, if they're being honest with you, the outcome that they give you is going to be based on the energy in your aura right now. So that brings me to my second thing. Don't go getting a reading if you're very upset. Calm yourself down, have a cup of tea or coffee, and then pick somebody that you feel safe with. Don't pick somebody that, you know, maybe is very out there for you, and you're hoping against hope they can tell you something that you don't know. Good psychics only tell you what you already suspect. Okay. So I want to change tack a little bit here. Let's say that you are getting a reading about your business, right? Or about your relationship, whatever that topic is. And let's say that the psychic is someone that you trust. Maybe you've worked with them before, maybe you followed them on YouTube, whatever that story is. Maybe they've come highly recommended by somebody else, and you know that they're the psychic for you, or the reader for you, or the advisor for you, or the coach for you, but they're not able to see what you see, right? So maybe they don't see the success or the happiness or the vision that you really feel. The first thing we're going to say is that sometimes the psychic, in fact all the time, a psychic is not able to predict something for you that is outside of their own realm of vibration. They may not have had that experience, but if they've never experienced a happy partnership and every person has let them down, and maybe they're happily single, it's going to be difficult for them to see a happy partnership for you. Okay, so bear that in mind. The other thing we will say to you is, if they are not seeing the job or the relationship or the pregnancy or the next stage of business success that you're really invested in, what you need to do is you need to ask them why they don't see it, okay, without accusing them. So I've had this. I had somebody contact me, and without laughing, she wanted to know when she was going to be an international celebrity. I just didn't see it. But then I'm not an international celebrity. So, I couldn't really give that to her because that was not compatible with where I am. So what I did is I told her why I didn't see it. And in this particular case, I didn't see that it was meant for her life path. I didn't see that her higher self had any interest in being a celebrity. And I didn't actually see that she would be emotionally happy in her marriage if she went on to be an international celebrity. So what I did is I told her why I didn't see it. So if you get a psychic prediction and you don't get an outcome that you want, or they maybe see something that scares you, ask them why they see that. So let's say you get a god-awful prediction and your heart sinks and you think, oh, I wish, what are you supposed to do with that? What I would do is I would ask the psychic, what options do I have? Because if you've chosen the right psychic, they should be able, whether they use tarot or a crystal ball, or they just work intuitively, they should be able to look at why that would manifest and how you can manifest something different, okay? Unless something is absolutely set in stone, such as a birth, a death, a marriage, there is always a way to change what is. Okay, so again, I'm changing tack here. Hello, JM. Hello, Jen. Happy birthday, Jen. I love you. So let's say you've invested a lot of time in something, years and years and years into something, whether that's a relationship or a business or a career, and it's just not working, right? And you go to see a psychic or a reader or a coach, and you ask them, what do I need to do to make this work? And maybe they just can't tell you. There's something else I want you to consider. I want you to consider, and I've done several several videos on this today, which is to do with energies that have nothing to do with what we're thinking and what we're feeling, that prevent us from manifesting that more abundant outcome, even though we're being really positive and love and light and everything happens for me, not to me, and all of that good stuff. But whatever it is you've been working on for a long time just isn't manifesting, okay? So some of these energies are karmic. Some of them are what we call automatic agreements. And very basically what this means, in many of your past lives, certain outcomes have occurred again and again and again and again and again. So the minute you come into the physical body, the subconscious, in an effort to keep you safe, is referring to those lives where, you know, there was a catastrophe, there was a tragedy, you had to hide, whatever that was. And this has nothing to do with your thoughts and feelings. So as somebody said earlier, well, if I take action, I'm going to take action. Well, I'm talking about even if you do take positive action, but the results are like a limp willy, okay? Not much good, not much good for anything. What good's a limp willy? So I want you to consider these. So we've already today talked about how the universe cannot see you if you have got vows of invisibility. I've also talked about vows of betrayal, de facto agreements. I've talked about all of those. So this is another one. An oath of impossibility. So this is where you exclaimed to yourself, that's impossible. And you felt defeated, overwhelmed, deflated, a failure, desperate, just as if there was nothing you could do, an impossible mountain to climb. So, number one, understand it's probably a version of you that is hundreds and hundreds of years old, right? And you were maybe born into a period in time when life was bloody hard. You might not have incarnated back on earth since that life, okay? So I normally work with people that the last life they had was back in the 1400s, or it was a life of Jesus, or it was a Roman lifetime, or a Babylonian lifetime, right? So you may not actually have been to Earth since that life. So you've had all these other amazing lives, you know, as Palladian, Syrian, Arcturian, whatever you were. And then you come back to Earth 6,000 years later, and your subconscious only refers to the last time you were here, okay? Which could have been 6,000 years ago. Life was a bit different back then. So what I want to say to you is these experiences that you had of something being impossible, they're lodged in your auric libraries. It's got nothing to do with what you believe. It's got nothing to do with what you feel. It's what your subconscious knows when you're in human form. Because even though the body that you're in probably has nothing to do with the body lineage-wise that you were in then, all the bodies are connected to the memory of the planet. So there is a cellular spiritual memory coming through. So what we will say to you is, if you are feeling within your life that the next level of abundance or happiness or success or earning money or psychic ability or fitness or weight loss, whatever it is, right? If you feel like the next level for you is just impossible, and you visit a coach and you visit a psychic and they basically say you're in the wrong job, you're in the wrong business, you're in the wrong marriage, you know, you're never going to lose that weight, and you just feel like having a duvet dive, okay? I really want you to check in with your inner guidance, however you do that, about the experience of something being completely impossible. So this is where, despite the amount of money you've thrown into something, despite the amount of love that you've put into something, despite the amount of sacrifice you've put into something, despite the amount of investment that you've put into something, it's still not manifesting. Very often, the experience of being deflated, defeated, failed, abandoned, sidelined, stepped on, betrayed, manipulated, coerced, all of those things, is in your auric library. You need to get into your auric library, the right one, because you've got 5, and you need to get rid of that oath that you exclaimed. It's not somebody that made you do it. You would have said, but this is impossible. So in my family were in the potato famine in Ireland. And I know that one of the things, a 7th generational thing which has affected my family, is that it's impossible to come up with that sum of money, right? Because the farmers or the landowners would insist on a huge amount of rent that the Irish pauper could not pay. So they would feel it was impossible. They would feel completely defeated. They would feel completely like a failure. They would give up. And that followed me, okay? And no matter how positive I was, no matter how much I invested, until I booked a new mentor who I've invested with today, I didn't know about that one. I knew about subservience and betrayal and all of that, poverty and lack. I didn't know about oaths of impossibility. Thanks to her, within 24 hours, it's gone and my lights are on. So I want to say to you, if you don't have this information, come and book a session with me before my prices go up. My prices are going up because the alchemical work I do is powerful and it's going to shift you into the next level for you. But unless you invest in yourself in one way or another, nobody else will. So an hour with me at this time is just £88, and we can explore all your blocks to success, all your blocks to lasting love, all your blocks to abundance. And I would be honored to help you get to that next level. So if you enjoyed this, please, would you share? We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And when we do it, we're going to do a mass psychic reading event. So the sooner we get there, the sooner you get, your card pulls. If you've enjoyed this, that would be wonderful. You can also visit my website, SheilaMaria.com. At the minute, the 1 hour clearing does include a reading as well. And if you just want to know what your psychic abilities are, I do a psychic ability report, which is just £44. My prices are going up at the end of the week. So jump on this. If you've wanted to work with me, now is the time. Lots of love to everybody. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, a wonderful evening, and we will see you soon. We love you. Goodbye for now.